I'm just ready to prepare either for an exit out of the real estate game. I'm just doing estate planning, something like this. But as I analyze things, what if in my heart of hearts, I would like to sell, but I don't want to deal with Uncle Sam because he'll take 35, 40, 50% for some of you in terms of your equity. So it's not just an option to exchange and cash out. You've looked at triple net leases, but it's not, you don't want to own a Dollar Tree in Timbuktu. So that's just not appealing. Nothing against Dollar Tree. I'm just get the idea. Some of you are just not comfortable with a triple net lease. So if I don't want to cash out and I don't want a triple net lease, but I want to relieve myself of the management and I just want monthly income, what can I do when the banks are only paying, saying 1% to 2%, depending? Well, you could sell and carry the financing. Now, the Becker family who's in the room today, when we first met, I had sold them a building in Covina. I think that was the first transaction. Right, Chuck? I forget. I think it was. But anyways, we make each other's acquaintance. And he actually bought a building for almost 100,000 a unit in West Covina. You can believe this. Or Covina, I mean, at the time. It's crazy to think where things were at one point. Anyways, Chuck has a medical condition, begins to think, hey, if I go down and all the units fall in my wife's lap, I don't necessarily want her to deal with tenants. I want her to have the income. That's been the whole idea of these properties for retirement, but I don't want her to deal with all the tenant and repairs because Chuck did that. That was his lane. Just like for me and my wife. If I go down, everything falls on my wife's lap, right? This idea where as right now, primarily I deal with the rentals. So we analyzed it. We said, okay, well, what can we do? Well, if you sell and carry back financing for the buyer, so simple math, let's say you have a property that's worth $1 million. The buyer puts down 30% in cash to you at the close of escrow, so you get $300,000 up front. And the remaining $700,000 you carry back in the form of a note. And you could carry that for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's really it's dependent upon your goals in terms of how long you want that income. The interest rate today probably would be somewhere between 4 to 7%, depending. And so you've relieved yourself of the management, you have monthly income from the note, and you've mitigated the taxes for the amount of time that you carry the note. So how does some of this work financially? I just sold this 5-unit with my partner, Deepan Shah, who brought me up a little earlier. 5 units Ontario, sales price, $1,150,000. This is the one I told you that was the highest price per unit. How did that happen? Well, by offering private financing, instead of just getting 2 offers, I think we got like something close to 8 offers. There's actually a gentleman here sitting in the second row, I won't point you out, that once the bid started getting this crazy, he said, okay, Chris, that's it, I'm out. Actually, 2 gentlemen are in this room who bid on this, and it got so high, they're smart enough, they said, I'm out. The guy who ended up buying it ended up paying $250,000 more than the list price. Now, this is where I do the disclaimer. It goes across the bottom. Your results may vary. I'm not saying just because you carry back financing, you're going to have this huge upswing in price, but you're going to have more offers, especially in a rent control market where financing is getting tighter. Since you're developing the loan yourself as the seller, you're going to receive more offers, and with that, we assume a bid process which will increase the price. Now this family, had they just sold and cashed out, they would have netted $1,075,000 from the sale and then would have paid their taxes from there. But what if they carry the financing? We had the buyer put 25% down, $287,500 down initially. The loan amount, $862,000. We carry it at 4.6% annually, so the annual income to them was $39,675, which nearly replicated what they were earning from the property when they were managing it themselves. So when we compare side by side, you could cash out $1,075,000, pay the taxes, or carry the note, in this case for 5 years, and between the initial down payment, the interest payments, and the loan payoff, you net $1,348,375 over the course of the loan. And in addition, you sell it above market pricing. Now, so that you can hear from them why they sold, it's the Inman family, we'll let them share their story.
Little by little, they got renters that came in, and most of their renters ended up being like family orientated. They made it like a family orientated apartment where the people lived there for years. What brought us to the decision to finally sell and move on was we felt we were getting older now, and we do not want the responsibility of having to look after them anymore. And then we also had a gentleman by the name of Chris German come around and call on me for about a year and a half and asking me, finally he called one day and I was kind of caught off guard. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, if you can come and convince my husband to talk to you, because you are in the real estate business, and he doesn't have too much to say about the last real estate decision that we made. So if you can come and talk to him and get him to talk to you about it, then it'll be fine. One of the advantages was that we were getting interest on it for 5 years, and made the price of the property go up higher than what we sold it for.
Because of the opportunity to the buyer. It was easier for the buyer to take over and set up the financing was all us. We were like the bank, and we liked the interest rate per month. And there was other options we were offered on that, but we chose one that we wanted to do. But if somebody was thinking about selling and don't need the finances, sent to you all at one time, and you can make X amount of dollars per month, more than you're actually making if it was sitting in the bank, it'd be a smart way to go. Because you look at this and the net is almost the same as we had if we owned them, and we have no headaches. I still, and that's a good way to look at it. And I'd recommend this to anybody that wanted to contact us or anything. That they were handled very professionally, and that's what I made my decision with.
What Mrs. Inman doesn't reveal in the video is that her father actually built the building. She grew up in the building as a little girl. And I remember as we're closing escrow, the buyer being cognizant of the fact that he was buying it from the builder had asked for the blueprints, and she actually had them. And as she handed us the blueprints, there was tears in her eyes. She felt like she was, I guess, giving away a piece of her parents that she had held on to for all that time. And she acknowledged that was a big reason why they held for as long as they had and hadn't sold prior. But the fact that we sold at the price that we did, that's why Mr. Inman had that big smile ear to ear, is because they felt comfortable with their decision based upon that net price.